Perfect. Perfect. Welcome. I've made it a daily ritual to play Undead Overrun on the first Red Dead Redemption at least once a day for some reason, as through my scrolling of that game's community.
Survivors is no match for the marauding undead. Death is coming. All you can
It's
do
so cheesy.
now is postpone it.
As I've been looking around in the community, people used to talk very highly of this when Undead Nightmare came out.
Are here.
It is as 2010 as you can get. It is a wave. It is a wave-based defense against zombies. Oh, it's got the good soundtrack too. Yeah, and that's pretty much all there is to it. The money is pretty much just your points. You can't actually spend money on anything. So basically, you get a coffin every wave. Waves are indicated by that red bar. And you see the timer. If you don't clear out that red bar before the timer comes, you won't get any more coffins. So eventually, you will run out of ammo and die. So there is a lot to it. Well, not a lot to it, but there is some complexities to it. Also, this is Red Dead Redemption, aka one of Rockstar's most critically acclaimed shooter, single-player, however you want to describe this, with horrific shooting that is only made possible because of disgusting auto-aim. So you'll have to excuse me if I aim like an elderly person at times, because it's just terrible. Most times you gotta use the aim assist unless you're just evolved, I'll say. What's it called? And yeah, it's just simple fun. It really takes me back. Not as it takes me back to when I used to play this, because as I said, I'm like 10 years late to playing Red Dead, but it's definitely something I'm glad I joined. A couple things have happened in the meanwhile. Also, when you get a high chain of killing zombies, you get fire ammunition, so you don't have to aim. As in, you hit them once, they light on fire, and once they're on fire, they're dead. Because in the higher waves, and there is some slight friendly fire, in the higher waves, these dudes get really resilient, and I swear they start eating headshots. It gets crazy. The best I've done was 32 minutes, which I think is like wave 18 or something. And there's four zombie types in Red Dead's Undead Nightmare. There's the normal ones, the spitting ones, the crawling ones, and the really big ones. The most dangerous ones, in my opinion, are the crawling ones, because how hard they are to hit, and the spitters, because they do a lot of damage. That's all there really is to say about this. You also got some utilities like dynamite, bait, holy water, which summons lightning to smite the undead. It's pretty funny. You can get some really nasty ragdolls on it. I don't know. For some reason, when I played this, I just went into a lobby and waited for a really long time, like 20 minutes, until someone got on, and I just really enjoyed it. So I've been playing it at least once a day. Usually, first thing I do when I turn on the Xbox. I don't know. It's just one of those weird rituals that I wonder how long I'll keep it up for. It's just nice, classic fun. Stuff like this really takes me back, you know? When things were simpler on Kino der Toten. Still the best zombies map to this day, and that is fact, not opinion. He had that, so I'm gonna let him have it. The coffins aren't shared. When you open a coffin, we all get ammunition, but only the person who opens the coffin will get things like dynamite, bait, and maybe some holy water. You can hold 8 dynamite, 3 baits, and 1 holy water. So it's best if you're just with one other person, it's probably best to take turns each round, or coordinate who needs what when. That's that heavy one I told you about. It doesn't do damage when it charges into you, thankfully. It only ragdolls, but that ragdoll can lead into your death. Oh yeah, look at that. I got hit by the spitting thing. Almost cost me my life. When it gets really hard, I'm going to do a really cheeky thing with Deadeye. Deadeye functions the same way it does in single player on this one. as in it reloads your ammunition. So what I like to do is I turn my sawed-off shotgun, my favorite weapon in Red Dead across both games, I turn it into a a bit of a machine gun. You'll see. It's funny. I'm playing as one of Lee Johnson's deputies. I think this one's Jonah. One of the funny things about this first game is you can play as pretty much any story character that you can think of. Only exceptions I can think of are Jake and Archer. Jake, the dude who escorts John, the fort mercer, and Archer being Ross's partner. More of the good cop of their good cop, bad cop relationship. It might seem really simple, but it gets very hard, even with multiple people. Most I've had on this is 3 people, and we still got beat after some time. Trust and believe, it gets ridiculous. You can revive people if they go down. It's not instant death or you turning into an undead if you get got.
You have phosphorus loaded. The demented hordes cannot be stopped.
You know, this is one of the few games, Red Dead Redemption, this first one, where its cheesiness does so much to help it. Like every facet of this game is so cheesy. The Undead Nightmare DLC, the main game itself, but the main game has a nice balance of serious things and just cheesiness, just so stereotypical of things, you know? And it really does well to put you into that world. So, in my absence, which there has been no real absence, I just haven't been recording things to upload it, I need to finish Evil Within amongst many other things. I have finished Mass Effect, the trilogy. I have not played Andromeda yet, or finished it. I have started playing it, but I haven't gotten deep into the meat and cheese of it yet. But I have completed the trilogy, not including the DLCs, because DLCs don't get their prices docked, and the Mass Effect games were free with Game Pass, or EA Play, really, but that comes from Game Pass now. Really, really good. Really good. I can see how it inspired a lot of games and why I used to hear of it so much, because that was a really good game. Completely, that statement is completely disregarding whatever the heck that ending was. I don't even want to think about the ending, because, like, fam, that ending reminded me of
The Last of Us Part 2.
It was just nonsensical, just weird. If that dude has a heart, he'll let me grab that. Soulless husk.
You have slugs.
It was just... Oh god, let me not talk about the ending right now, though. Overall, the Mass Effect trilogy, incredible. Like, good enough to where I immediately want to replay the games. But I'm not, for the sake of the Legendary Edition, and the fact that I need to play the last Mass Effect game at the moment, being Andromeda, of which I have never really heard good things about it. It's funny, when I started playing them, let me learn the English language, I didn't have many expectations, as the only thing I'd really heard of was it's a great game with very good characters that has a horrific ending that no one likes. Which was very strange, because you don't often hear of that. You don't hear of so much positivity up until a specific point, like the ending. And while I was going through it, I didn't let that bog me down, at least until I got to the third game. And I was having a great, jolly old time. I took a pretty long break after the first game, like 20 or something days before I started 2 and 3. But when I started 2 and 3, I got them done within like a week. And it was just really good. It was an excellent experience. I mean, everything that I heard was pretty much true. Very good, very, very good world building. Excellent characters. The plot, simple but good. It's just a space epic, you know? Save the galaxy. As simple as that. Build your crew and then just explore the Mass Effect universe while you do so with Commander Shepard. And the crew of the Normandy. And it was a great time. And everything about it was good in my opinion. Everything. Except that freaking ending. I mean, what the heck? What the heck happened there? That almost doesn't make sense. How could something like that happen when everything else was doing so good, you know? I need to research stuff regarding the ending. For the sake of the 1 or 2 people who watch this video, maybe they're interested in Mass Effect, I won't spoil it, but man, that ending was weird. I say it reminds me of The Last of Us Part 2 in the sense of it just feels like it betrays the previous work. There was a lot of why questions, as in the decision making. Like, why do this with the franchise? It was just... It was so weird and out of nowhere. Like, it wasn't even something you would expect, because it was just... It was a very sudden thing, and it was not at all satisfying. It was totally negative, and it's sad to say that everything I heard about the ending was true. That ending was unbelievable. Like, potentially, depending on how important you value conclusions to stories and stuff, that could be a franchise-killing conclusion. But for me, I don't let that stuff bog me down too much, although an ending is one of the most important parts of a story, undoubtedly. So it's a shame to have the ending to these 3 games, multiple hours of gameplay and just exploring things and just falling in love with the universe, to have such a freaking whack, just objectively horrible ending. I don't want to say too much before I start just detailing things, which I want to avoid.
There's a new weapon for the taking.
I guess if there's one word I could use to describe the ending, without saying too much, it'd just be shame, man. Oh shoot, that's the holy water, watch this. A complete freaking shame. Andromeda, as said, I haven't tried too much of it. I guess the only thing I can say about Andromeda, besides the fact that, you know, it's next gen, so it looks really good. The combat feels really good in my opinion as well. My boy doesn't agree to such an extent, but I think it felt really good in the short snippets I've had of it. But who knows, maybe it'll get drastically worse as time passes. One thing I will say, I might consider it a minor or major criticism. Also, notice how durable they're getting. Remember how I was one-tapping everything with the sawed-off without even aiming for the head? Like, now even with some of the pellets looking like it hits their head, it ain't killing them. What was I saying? Yes, one thing I was kind of expecting was, I don't know, I was expecting a lot more animation, I guess, in the conversation, because that's one of, potentially, the biggest part about Mass Effect. It's just, you know, the character interactions. And when you get a lot of that, you know, in the first 3 games, things are pretty stiff. All the animations across all 3 games, it's pretty stiff, for the exception of a few, you know, CGI cinematics. But in the gameplay, from, you know, dialogues to combat, all the animations are pretty static. Which, I mean, it doesn't really bother me. They're old games. All the trilogy are all very old games. They're almost all a decade old. I think the only one that's not is the 3rd one. But I could be mistaken there. Came out in 2012, so yeah, no, not a decade old yet. But the other 2 are. And Andromeda, I don't know what I was expecting, really. I have played a lot of really good games very quickly. So I could be potentially a bit spoiled from what I'm expecting from things now, from things on the next-gen platform, but I don't know. I was kind of bothered by the way the animations looked in dialogue and such. It was weird. And I remember that was one of the controversies. Oh shoot, I think I'm gonna go down there. Yep, ragdolls will kill you. What's it called? What is it called? I lost my train of thought when I went down. Yeah, when the game came out, that was one of the major controversies. You know, how the characters looked very strange and kind of lifeless in their chats. One of the infamous conversations being the, sorry, my face is tired. And stuff like that, it's mostly been resolved, but I don't know. Maybe my expectations are too high. However, I don't think it's too much to ask for top-notch performances from everything in a multi-billion-dollar company like EA, coming off of an epic trilogy with a gross ending, like Mass Effect. So, I don't know. Minor things. Other than that, though, as said, I would love to talk more, but I don't like spoiling things, no matter how obscure they are or how little investment my 1 or 2 viewers may have. I am just too nice of a person. Other than that, not much has been going on. Ow. If I get hit again, I'm going down. Not much else has happened. It got really hot. Oh, watch this. Ready? This is gonna be fun. Do I have the Evans repeater? I need to grab that weapon. Also, we're cutting it close. We need to start killing stuff. As said, if we don't empty that bar. We don't empty that bar by the time the timer goes out, then this thing is pretty much over. God, it's so hard to shoot in Red Dead. Like, trust and believe, I feel extremely embarrassed ADSing with auto lock and stuff, but the shooting in these games is just so strangely bad. I don't know what's up with Rockstar and not being able to. It's funny when you think about it. Every Rockstar game has gunplay, but you can name on your fingers. The only exception I can think of off the top of my head is Bully. Bully has like slingshots and stuff, no actual firearms to shoot. Even though it's still auto-aim trash and that. Yeah, every Rockstar game has freaking gunplay to an extent. And they have never, with the exception of like Max Payne 3, because I played that, I remember playing that, I remember seeing my dad play, it's multiplayer all the time. That one had good gunplay, but all the other ones, it's atrocious. No polite way to put it. It's just really freaking bad. It's weird, because people really do sing Rockstar's praises, including me. Like, they never disappoint, but god dang, there are some things they really need to be held accountable for. Something as simplistic as shooting that so many other games get right. And yet, for some reason, these dudes have almost never done it without just littering it with auto-aim. Like, imagine how cool it would be if a Western game as classic as this would just have good gunplay. Because I know it might not bother me too much, but it really bothers me how the only way to really stand a chance is to ADS. I hate games that hold my hand in shooting. And I played so many of them back to back while I've been playing the Game Pass and such that, dude, whenever I get a rare game that does not hold my hand with my shooting, it feels like a godsend. When I played Doom, and that game has no ADS, I felt so good. And that's one of the keys to making satisfying gunplay in general. Just don't hold the player's hand. You don't need to. We're all able-bodied here, with the exception of those that need the, you know, the special controller and such. Oh my god, this bigot went down up here. Get off this thing.
From the jaws of the undead.
Yeah, when you don't hold the player's hand, the gunplay feels a lot better. I mean, why do you think the most well-known shooters are built that way? In Red Dead, I mean, I guess, you see, the thing is with Rockstar, though, is that their games work for some reason, and you have to wonder why. And it's not that hard to understand why, you know. Oh, GG. So in my raps, I didn't realize that we weren't doing that well. So now it's over. Now it's just endure and survive until you can't, because we're getting no more ammunition. So eventually we'll just run out of ammo. What's it called? Yeah, you have to wonder why their games work, and it's not that hard to understand why. They have, besides shooting, what does Rockstar do that's bad? Their worlds are incredible. Their writing is one of a kind. Like, there's certain things only Rockstar seems to be able to do well, or even touch. They do things that other game companies just refuse to do. They're very respectful of I guess, real-world parodies of things. But at the same time, they have their own humor, almost like South Park in a sense, you know? Like, they can handle things, but one thing they cannot handle is freaking shooting, and it does bother me. Like in Red Dead Online, as in Red Dead Redemption 2's Online, it really makes me cringe seeing how when we do something like a train route, where we're on a train trying to get supplies from one spot to another, and it's giving us waves of enemies. If you're bunched together, you can see you and your teammates, in order to have a slight chance of hitting anything, especially if you're not using the paint in black, where you can mark the targets with Deadeye, you're just seeing people do what I'm doing right here. Just, like, look at that nonsense. Like, I know with movement like this, I've played games where enemies move crazier than that, and there's no aim assist, and you still have a chance to shoot. I don't know, it's weird. I wish shooting was at a higher priority on Rockstar's list when they're making their games, as I do think that is something they should be held accountable for. And there are some people that another thing I think that maybe explains why people don't talk about it too much is some people really are not bothered by it at all. Like in Red Dead Redemption 2, a lot of people, including myself, think its shooting is somehow a lot worse than this game's, which isn't the best. But in my opinion, it functions a lot better. And there are a lot of people that say the opposite. They say that the shooting was so good that when the game launched, there were people making setting recommendations for it. Like, tailoring their shooting to the specific person because that's how fun and good it was. I do not know what alien planet those people reside in because I could not disagree. I could not disagree more. I mean, the shooting in Red Dead Redemption 2 is crazy horrible. It has that gross bloom when after you shoot. So if you try to do any form of rapid fire that's not just doing something in Deadeye, you have no chance of hitting it. It's... God, that is so funny. It's freaking atrocious. But people say that, objectively, I have no idea what I'm talking about, and I'm wrong. So that's my daily ritual.
Mankind and yourselves proud.
That's the daily ritual. 14 minutes, and nowhere near the 32-minute session. The 32-minute one, that was in the Blackwater Cemetery. I'm gonna go back to my regularly scheduled programming, as in, I actually don't know, because I have way too many things that I need to do that I just keep topping on, as in games I need to play. Not actual, you know, serious responsibilities and things that I should be worrying about. No. Privileged stuff like me, as in playing certain games. Yeah, I know. Filthy, cisgendered, privileged, white male. Not white. With my stupid, what is it called? Gen Z problems. Yeah, that's my daily ritual. We have been noticed by Neil himself. Ooh, nice. I'm gonna head out of here, since I've restocked on, I don't know, getting killed, whatever the heck. I'm just rambling. Get me out of here.